Welcome to another episode of a podcast named Tim. It is a Mandalorian review. Today, discussing Chapter 15, entitled The Believer. Another great episode from The Mandalorian, but before we get into it, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know how YouTube works. So the episode, as you remember from last week's episode, they are going to break out Mayfield, Bill Burr's character, who was in Chapter 6 from the first season, entitled The Prisoner. Cara Dune is going to go help him out. There's this great junkyard planet, really cool visuals there. I don't know if it's Braca. I don't think so. It looked a little different, but there's obviously a lot of these kind of style planets that are being operated for prisons, whether it's New Republic or Imperial. And so he gets broken out. He has a great little moment with Boba Fett when he walks out, and he's, he thinks he's Mando, and then he freaks out when he actually sees him. And something that was really cool about this episode was we get to see inside Slave One, which has this weird rolling vortex. Everything's moving around the ship, which was a really cool effect. And the big plan is we're going to use Mayfield because he's an Imperial. We're going to go get, basically there's a terminal, and he's got to hack into it or access it so they can find out where Moff Gideon's ship is so we can go get Grogu. So that's the easy plan. The planet they went to is called Barak or something like that. Kind of a jungle planet, and there's a great scene where the whole crew is on top of the ledge. There's these they almost look like the vehicles from Mass Effect. I don't remember the name of it, but if you've played Mass Effect, you know what I'm talking about. Mako, I think is what it's called. These Mako looking things. It's like a transporting space nitroglycerin basically, and so they're a little explosive, and they're trying to figure out who's going to go on it on the trip. Everyone's like, no, they have bioscans, they'll figure out who I am, yada, yada, yada. So Mayfield's one, and then, of course, Mandalorian is going, but Boba Fett has a great comment where he says, let's just say they'll recognize my face. And when I heard that originally, I thought, oh, yeah, he's Boba Fett. He's, galaxy-renowned bounty hunter. They'll recognize him, and it took me a long time. I was watching someone else's review. I was like, oh, they meant because, all of the clones. And so that was amusing. But the Mandalorian Din goes with Bill Burr's character. And we get a lot of just kind of one-on-one time with them in the ship. Mando takes off his Mandalorian armor, puts on the Stormtrooper armor, and it looks really weird. It looks really small and tiny and just doesn't look right. And you can tell he doesn't feel right. On the way through this trip, Mayfield is kind of pointing out his thoughts on the universe about it doesn't matter who's in charge. He's kind of poking holes in Mandalorian's thoughts, doesn't matter if you take the armor off, doesn't matter if it's your special armor, as long as no one sees your face. A lot of just kind of trying to figure him out. And at the same time, while they're doing this also, this is called Juggernaut, these pirates, I guess, local rebels, I would say, show up, and they're showing up with thermal detonators, and they're trying to blow up the machine that they're driving. And so we kind of have our top of the train fight with Mando, who's taking some hits. That Mandalorian armor isn't on, so he's not up to task. And Bill Burr keeps speeding up really quick, and has to keep slowing down because if you go too fast, the stuff explodes. So it just creates a great amount of tension. It would be a normal chase scene. Of course, they get away. They are saved by some ties, end up at the Imperial headquarters there, and we find out that they're planning on using these for some more explosive stuff. But what's really cool is they get to where the terminal is. The terminal is in where the officers hang out, the officers' lounge. And Mayfield walks in and walks immediately out. Says he can't do it because you have to scan your face to do this. And one of the guys that's in there recognizes him. He used to work for him. And so Din he bucks up. He's like, I gotta go do this for my kid. He walks in there, takes the helmet off, breaks the code, for his quote unquote kid, and does a face scan. It takes a long time to do this, and the officer comes over and he tries to ask questions of him, and Dan does not know what to say. Luckily, Mayfield does show up, kind of fast talks him and saves him a little bit, calls him old brown eyes, which was hilarious and great. But the officer doesn't want to let him go, ends up inviting him over for drinks, and he's just the perfect Imperial, sleazy, cocky. He was great. Just talking about how great the Empire is, and you can see this is where we get the heart of Mayfield. He gets his redemption in some respects. First of all, Bill Burr acted his ass off this episode. He completely stole the episode, did a great job, especially in this scene where he's talking about Operation Cinder, of course, is where basically the Empire was like, the Emperor, after dying, had these like red messenger robots go around with his face in it. And he was just like, burn everything. If you all couldn't protect me, you don't deserve to have an empire, so burn it all, basically. And it was like his temper tantrum. And so Mayfield talks about Operation Cinder and how, all these regular people died that he knew and were his buddies, and the officer just didn't care. He's like, yeah, I feel good for the empire, And Mayfield just shoots him point blank, nice shootout, escape, hop on the Slave One, and get out of town. Of course, get a great seismic charge or whatever it's called, and that great sound effect. And then they do let Mayfield go, because in the end, Cara Dune and them see that he does take a shot and like blows up all the explosive material that they've collected. And he said, you got to sleep at night. So he gets his redemption. I'll be interested if he shows up in another show. I would imagine probably not The Mandalorian, maybe in Rangers of the New Republic, which I did a video on about all the new shows. I'm just kind of talking through my thoughts on those, so I'll put a card up here so you can check that out. But really good episode, kind of the calm before the storm. Kind of took of a breath. And I should say at the end, we do get the Mandalorian sends a video message to Moff Gideon. It's basically like, I'm coming for you. I'm coming to get my kid. Be on the lookout. And so it was really good. I'm going to do a separate video about some potential predictions for the last season and what the cliffhanger might be. But all in all, like I said, quiet before the storm. Excited for next week. It's going to be very sad about next week, because then no more Mando for a year. But is what it is. Good acting. Good solid episode. Dove deep into another character who was in season 1, and just, as always, Mandalorian just killing it. That was pretty much it. It was a pretty straightforward episode. It was really just the acting of Bill Burr that completely sold this episode. And Rick, I think it's Fujima, I can never say his name, the director who directed episode 2 and 6 of last season. He did a great job as always. So, good episode of Mandalorian. Check it out as always. If you're watching these, you've seen. But we'll see you next time here on a podcast named Tim.